Final Fantasy IV introduces a system that is so good, Square Enix actually used it for the next 5 Final Fantasy games in a row, and even in some games that aren't part of Final Fantasy. Rather than inputting all of your commands at the start of your turn, instead, each character has their own loading bar that, once filled, lets you input a command. The enemies also have their own loading bar as well, so you are constantly inputting commands throughout the fight. There's never really a dull moment. Final Fantasy IV also has a very large cast, which blends itself well to the roles system that it introduces. Rather than have all of your characters be able to meld themselves into what you want them to be, each character kind of fits a predetermined spot into the party composition. Cecil's your tank, Kane's your DPS, Rosa is your healer, that kind of stuff. Final Fantasy IV is also the game that I feel like has the first real story in a Final Fantasy game. You have a definitive narrative with characters that have their own arcs, you have character deaths, you have shocking revelations, and it feels like the first time Square kind of really knew what they wanted to do with a story in Final Fantasy and executed it very well. And that's why I think 4 is actually one of the best places for you to start if you're looking to get into Final Fantasy, because of how foundational the active time battle system and the story have been to every game that came after it. It will allow you to really appreciate the influence that that game had on the franchise as a whole. One more thing, there are a ton of different versions of Final Fantasy IV that you can get these days. Be aware that the DS version, for whatever reason, is super difficult. I could have just been bad at video games when I was a kid, but that's like one of the only games that I never finished. And I didn't actually finish Final Fantasy IV until I went back to the advanced version a few years later. My favorite representation of Final Fantasy IV is obviously Cecil. And it's mostly that when I was talking with friends about the Final Fantasy set, I was like, oh, they're going to put double-faced cards into the set, because how do you do a Cecil card without making it transform? And somebody was like, oh, you just make him a figure of Destiny. No, he has to transform. Figure of Destiny's not good enough.